I am your instructor, Adrian Fisher. I want to start by just providing some introductory details about my background. I studied zoology at Cal Poly Pomona, earning a bachelor's degree all the way back in 2011. I then went to Texas A&M University, where I studied entomology, earning a PhD in 2017. And since then, I've been here at ASU, where I work as a postdoctoral research associate, my main research focus being the honeybee, and in particular, environmental factors that affect honeybee health. During my time here, I have studied a commonly used pesticide for its effects on honeybee health and survival. And during the course of these studies, a number of physiological questions have arisen, including how this pesticide affects honeybees at the organismal level, as well as the function of particular tissues and cellular processes. This physiology course that you are about to undertake uses human physiology as the base for understanding important concepts, but has wider implications for general animal systems.
Let's now transition to a discussion of the course itself. Bio 361 is our online physiology course, wherein you will learn about a number of important fundamentals of how physiologists study their various animal systems of interest. So let's go through a quick rundown of the objectives, what you will take away from the course going forward. You will learn how to design experiments, testing various hypotheses. You will also be able to employ and develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills in addressing the various lab techniques and procedures that you will learn. You will learn to compile and analyze data, and if you choose, to work with peers to accomplish or complete group projects. You will also learn to interpret your data and summarize your findings in graphs. You will further interpret your data by writing reports clearly explaining your findings. You will develop an understanding and be able to explain the various techniques you learned during the course of this class. In addition, you will learn simple statistical techniques to further analyze your data. And last but not least, you will learn how to search primary literature sources and develop a general understanding of physiology, such that you are able to identify poorly understood or gaps in our knowledge, and thus develop means by which to analyze some of these unanswered questions. Now, the course itself is composed of three major components, the first of which are our lab simulations, and these will occur on a weekly basis. There is a basic formula to this particular component, and it includes reading introductory material, that is a lecture of sorts, relevant to the lab. You should then take the pre-lab quiz, which will test your understanding of the introductory material. And this, of course, will be followed with the completion of the lab simulation itself and all associated questions during the course of the lab, and immediately followed by the post-lab quiz, which again is a further test or reinforcement of the concepts you learned. Another major component of this class is the Electromyograph Arduino project, and this involves the purchase or acquisition of machinery in order to conduct an ongoing experiment using yourself and possibly a roommate or family or friends to compile data with the eventual goal of analyzing and writing up this data in a report. The final component is the group research project, which can be done individually, although it is recommended that students work in groups. And this project is done in the format of a proposal submitted to the National Science Foundation or the National Institute of Health. And it'll involve employing another one of our previously mentioned learning objectives, that is identifying questions or issues that are not well understood in physiology and developing experiments and a plan to address those poorly understood areas. The class itself is composed of 6 modules, 7 if you include Module 0, and each week you can expect to see 1 or 2 lab simulations with all of the aforementioned components, the pre-lab quiz, the post-lab quiz, the simulation itself, and of course the introductory material, as well as our two major projects which were also introduced on the previous slide. So the electromyograph Arduino project, which will have four major components, including one coming up very soon, due this Thursday in fact, that is documenting your order of the Arduino setup, and the group project, which also is composed of subcomponents, leading up to the completion of your final proposal. In an online class, communication is key. And in addition to visiting office hours and asking questions through email, there are two forums that are available to students to discuss the course itself and to get any lingering confusion or questions addressed. This includes the community forum and YellowDig, which is our main discussion board. And it is recommended again that any questions regarding course content, clarification on assignments and projects should be posted here. Myself and the TAs will regularly monitor both forums in order to address any questions as needed, although students are also encouraged to interact with each other. Now, if you have a question that is more of a personal nature, you should instead email me directly. It is not recommended that you post any personal questions or personal matters on either of these public forums. So to maximize your success in this course, it is important that you spend adequate time on the class itself. So you should plan to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 hours a week in order to successfully complete all lab simulations and assignments or subcomponents related to either project, but also to give yourself time to really digest and understand the information. Studying physiology can be challenging, but ultimately a very rewarding process. You also want to keep up with assignments. The shortened nature of this session, there will be due dates every week. I will try my best to provide regular reminders of these due dates as they come up, but it's also on the students to make sure that you're keeping up and checking your modules and assignment list week after week. You also want to get the start and completion of your projects as soon as possible. As mentioned earlier, you do have a due date coming up this Thursday regarding your Arduino project, namely documenting your order of the setup itself. So you want to make sure to take care of that as soon as possible. And there are resources to help you with that in Module 0 and especially in Module 1. And as always, feel free to ask if there are any difficulties or questions or confusion that arises. And just a reminder, we do have a couple of public forums by which you can seek the help of your colleagues, your fellow students, as well as myself and the TAs in the form of the community forum and YellowDig. But students are also encouraged to visit office hours. Your instructor's office hours are every Friday from 12 to 2 p.m. This first week of the course, your first tasks to read the syllabus and to go through Module 0. Completing Module 0, which mainly involves opening each tile and reading the details therein, is the key to unlocking the rest of the course. You also want to keep in mind that, in addition to these various reading assignments, Module 0 also has a couple of tasks for you to complete. The main idea here is just to complete this syllabus quiz and this academic integrity agreement, just acknowledging that you will abide by the academic standards of ASU. Module 0.5 will also be a very important resource for you, providing further details about various skills and tasks that you will develop along the way, including searching primary scientific literature sources, an overview of statistical analyses or techniques, advice for working in groups, and further details on your various projects. Working in a group is not required for this course, but it is highly recommended. For those interested in working in a group, you want to go to the People tab on the left-hand side menu, and from there, select the Project Groups tab, which will open a page looking something like what you see on the right hand of the slide. You'll notice a list of different time slots. Now, just to provide clarification, these time slots are not due dates. The due dates for your various assignments, quizzes, and projects will be the same for all students. These time slots rather indicate the time by which members of the group are agreeing to meet. So for instance, if you sign up for the Friday afternoon time slot, then your group mates are all agreeing more or less to meet on Friday afternoons to discuss your project and organize yourselves and make progress on completing it. These times are not going to be strictly enforced. We will not check to make sure that you are in fact meeting on Friday afternoon. The main idea is that you are meeting and that everyone is contributing equally. So here is to a great session. You will be challenged in this lab course, but ultimately you will take away very practical and usable skills going forward.